Story time. So some time ago, I received a story from this gentleman whom we are going to call Peter. Peter is not a name that I think I have used very much at all, because y'all have let me know how much I love to recycle these names. Okay? Peter. His name is Peter. So Peter is a nurse. Peter works with registry. Registry, for those of you who don't know, is basically a company that hires nurses or any healthcare professional and presents them with a series of shifts at a series of facilities, because those facilities are short-staffed. So if you're going to pick up a shift, 90% of the time you have no idea what you're walking into.
No idea what you're walking into.
You've never been there before. 90% of the time it's a brand new place. You're going to get 15 seconds of orientation and you're going to be expected to know your shit. But honestly, that's a pretty large part of nursing culture. So I feel like we as a culture, the nursing culture, we're getting more and more adjusted to that. We're getting more and more used to it. Okay, so it really isn't that big of a deal. So he gets there, he goes to the staffing office, they tell him where he's working, he gets to the unit, he asks the unit secretary, who does he need to speak to, or who's the charge nurse? So the unit secretary is like, I'm sorry, who are you?
It's like, I'm sorry, who are you?
He said, my name is Peter, I am a registry nurse. And before he could say anything else, the secretary, who we can call Janet, Janet's like, registry? We don't ever get registry. Well, welcome, Peter. The charge nurse is right over there. And she points to the charge nurse. Charge nurse is busy fumbling around with something. He walks over to the charge nurse. He introduces himself. And she, whom we are going to name Rebecca, is also a little shocked. She was like, oh, you came. That, my friends, is what you call red flag number 2. Because, oh, you came? What the fudge is that? He was like, yeah, should I not have came? And she laughs. No. I'm glad you came. Okay. Okay. She's like, huddle is going to start in just a few minutes. And then you could just break off and get your assignment. Do you have any questions about the documenting system that we use here? And she tells him what system it is. And he's like, no, I'm familiar with it. And she says, cool. My name is Rebecca. This is my extension. I'm here for whatever it is you need tonight. I'm your support system. That, if it did anything, helped redeem part of one of those red flags. Not in its entirety, because when you get 2 people surprised that a nurse showed up, ain't no good. No. Ain't no good. So anyways, fast forward. The night begins. Huddle has started and ended. He knows what patients he's getting and he goes and he gets report. Okay, it's a night shift. He's got 3 patients to start with, and on this floor you can get up to 5. So he's already in the right frame of mind to, I might get 2 more patients before the shift is up. Whatever. I picked up the shift. I'm here to work. None of this is an issue. Okay? So fast forward, the night's going pretty well. He has met all of his patients. One of his patients has had surgery. Now, the surgery had taken place that same day. And for those of you who have heard all of my perioperative stories, my recovery stories, my anesthesia stories, anesthesia does really interesting things to you, but it really only does those interesting things to you within that first hour of waking up from your surgery. Anything beyond that, if you're still not coming back to your senses, I don't know. The problem might be you. But there are still lasting effects of anesthesia. There are. Nausea, vomiting, dizziness, forgetfulness. Anesthesia is a hell of a drug. So this particular patient had had surgery that day, but obviously it had been a few hours. You know, it's night shift now. So that patient, we're going to call her Rose. Rose hits the call light to go to the bathroom. Peter can't find the CNA, so he goes into Rose's room, to help her. He gets in there and he says, all right, I know you had surgery. You tell me the best way you feel comfortable getting out the bed and I'll offer you support. And she says, what did you say your name was again? He said, Peter. She was like, Peter, this hospital is really weird. I don't have to go to the bathroom. I just wanted to ask if you could have somebody stay in this room with me or if I can come out and hang out with you at the nurse's station. Peter was like, I'm registry. For a lot of registry nurses, if we don't know the answer, that is usually our go-to. Look, I'm a traveler. Look, I'm registry. Look, I don't even really work here.
Look, I don't even really work here.
I don't got the answers. But she went on to say, after he said, I don't even know if that's really going to be a possibility, you know, she went on to say, this hospital is really weird. Like, weird things keep happening. And I'm not comfortable being in this room by myself. And she's looking around, clearly looking uncomfortable. And he was like, do you want to tell me what's going on? And she was like, I don't know. I'm just uncomfortable. And so he, as a nurse, is thinking, all right, she's probably restless. The anesthesia's probably doing interesting things to her. This is not strange. He said, I can ask the CNA once she's done with all of her tasks if she could sit in here with you. She said, okay, fine. Do you know how long that'll take? Very anxious, you know, very, very uncomfortable. And he said, no, unfortunately, I don't. But I can check back in with you in about 30 minutes. She said, fine. Fine. That was very kind of Peter, because usually we don't even have the time to offer that explanation. Oh, you don't have to pee? Girl, I got to go. Girl, I got to go. My cat just hopped up on the bench trying to give me love. Give me a second. So usually nurses are typically like, oh, you don't really actually need me? Okay, well, someone really actually does. Or I'm not done passing meds. I'm documenting. Let me come back. Peter was very kind. Peter distributed his time. And that was kind of him. Okay. Fast forward 30 minutes on the dot, on the nose. Rose, not really super mobile because she just had surgery, limps out of the room with the IV pole. And she was like, your 30 minutes is up. I'm not staying in there another second by myself. And so everyone at the nurse's station looks like, okay. So then Peter asked the charge nurse, hey, do you think it's okay if my patient sits at the nurse's station with us? She's just a little restless. She's uncomfortable. Charge nurse Rebecca says, sure, fine, whatever. And so they set up a little, one of those transformable chairs at the nurse's station. And she chills there and she's comfortable until she has to pee. So Peter gets the wheelchair because he's not comfortable with her having recently had surgery to walk her to the bathroom. He's like, we're going to get you in a wheelchair and we'll wheel you back to your room and have you use the bathroom in there. She's like, no, I'm not going back in there to use the bathroom. I'm not doing anything alone while I'm in this hospital. You don't understand. It's really weird in here. Everyone looks at her and looks away. No one comments, no one adds to it, no one takes away. Everyone just kind of looks at her, looks away. There's not an ounce of a sense of shock like, what? Girl, stop. None of that. Just. So Peter says, okay, do you want me to wait in the room with you while you go to the bathroom? She said, no, take me to one of the public bathrooms. Take me to a bathroom out here in the hallway. Bruh. So now Peter's getting annoyed because he's just trying to get his work done. And this patient is proving to be taking up an excessive amount of time. He was trying to be kind before. And now he's just like, I'm not going to be able to keep doing this with you. Like, you got to meet me halfway. And he said as much. He's not getting a lot of support from the staff. Nobody's saying anything. And so she said to him, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not. I promise. But there is something weird about this hospital. And I know that you said that you're registry. I think that it's probably best for the two of us to just stick together. He's not taking any of what she's saying super seriously. In his mind, he's still chalking it up to the anesthesia. Maybe it's just a sensitivity thing. He wheels her down the hall to a bathroom door that's locked. And so he's assuming that someone is in the bathroom. He doesn't know where another bathroom is, and he doesn't want to wheel her all over the hospital and waste time, or at least all over the unit. So he's like, let's just wait here until someone walks out the bathroom. So eventually Rebecca's leaving the nurse's station, looks down the hall, she sees them there, and she's like, oh, we don't use that bathroom. There's another bathroom that way. So he says, great, thank you. That saved me a lot of time. He heads down there, and as he's walking past her, she puts her hand on his shoulder and says, just make it quick. Bitch, what? Bitch, what? What? Make it quick!
Make it quick!
So then the patient hears that. Of course the patient hears that. And she was like, what did she say? Did she say make it quick? Now, the patient is offended. She now is beginning to feel like she's a burden. She's already uncomfortable in the hospital, and she doesn't like that people aren't taking her concerns seriously. So she ears off on the charge nurse. She says, I will not be rushed. I'm a patient. I will be taken care of. My concerns will be taken seriously. She just goes off. And so the charge nurse barely acknowledges half of the patient's concerns and looks back at Peter and says, just don't be down there for too long. Patient's still pissed off. They get down there. They're struggling to open the door, the bathroom door. Once he finally gets it open so that he can wheel her in there, he's trying to hold the door open and wheel her in at the same time. Everybody is afraid of a patient falling, so he's not even really trying to let her get up and walk in the couple of steps. He's trying to get her as close to the toilet as possible while holding the door open. It was one of those one bathrooms. No stalls, just the toilet. So he finally gets her in, and he hears someone say, I got it. And they hold on to the door. He barely looks back and says thanks, gets into the bathroom, and he turns around to say thank you. The door closes. And he looks back at the patient and he says, well, that was nice. And she was like, what was nice? Your charge nurse? Absolutely not. Very disrespectful. And she goes off on a tangent again. Peter says, I'm going to step out and give you some privacy, and then I'll come back in. Please don't stand up without letting me know that you're done using the bathroom. He turns to open the door. The door won't open.
The door won't open.
So the patient is like, are you going to get out? He said, yes, ma'am, I'm trying. The door won't open. So she begins to panic immediately, because every single one of her concerns, every single one of the issues that she was having internally, everything that she was feeling is now coming to fruition. And she's like, I knew it. I knew something was off with this hospital. Meanwhile, Peter is like, no, it's probably just a jam. And he's just, like throwing his shoulder into the door. And she's like, it's not a jam. This place is spooked. It's weird in here. She's very uncomfortable. No longer thinking about peeing. Peter is starting to panic now. And she's like, you need to bang on that door. You need to bang on that door and let them know that we're in here. I refuse. I'm claustrophobic. And then she just starts going off. Not helping the situation at all. So he's like, look, can you please just give me a second? I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for this. I'm sure that there's something just wrong with the door. I'm just going to call the extension that Rebecca told me to call, and she's going to come let us out. They have the little work phones. And she was like, fine, just hurry up, because we don't have much time before I start losing my shit. So he dials the little extension on the little phone, Those little teeny tiny black phones, those little Nokias. And he gets a busy tone. The patient, Rose, is in the background like, you have got to be effing kidding me. Are you serious? And he's like, just give me a second. I'm going to try again. He dials it again. Busy tone. Now he's starting to panic. And at that point, he's disregarding everything that Rose is saying, and he begins to bang on the door. Everything is starting to feel more and more uncomfortable. And he's panicking. He's panicking. Now the two of them are banging on the door. A lady who just had surgery in her gown with her backside out, and a man stuck in the bathroom banging on the door. Nobody has came to open that door. So Peter calms down. He tries to calm down, dials the extension again, and in the midst of dialing, the door opens. And they both breathe a sigh of relief, and they're both like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. But there's no one there. And so now they're just standing there, staring at the door open. Nobody is there. Peter says very quietly, get in the wheelchair. We are leaving. She didn't ask any questions. She sat her backside in that wheelchair, and he shoved her down the hallway, and he sat her back at the nurse's station and looked at Rebecca and said, did you get any of my calls? And she was like, no, but I don't know. I thought that it was taking her a while to pee. I know that after surgery, it takes a minute for your bladder to wake up. And he was like, did you hear us banging on the door? And then her shoulders relaxed and she was like, oh. The patient is like, oh, what does that mean? Peter says, this is absolutely crazy. This is so unprofessional. What exactly is down there that you couldn't tell me about? And she was like, listen, this hospital has a lot going on. You know, we're working on it. It's really hard for us to get staff. So I didn't want to get into too much detail. And your patient was already anxious. And she was like, I wasn't anxious. I was feeling strange. Like my body was telling me something was wrong. And you guys weren't taking it seriously. And we almost got stuck in the bathroom down there. And so Peter was like, has that happened before? She said, yeah, but only if you stay down there too long. What? What? So Peter's like, you guys mean to tell me that you are actively working here with weird things happening and nobody's doing anything about it? And she was like, we don't talk about it. That's what we're doing for now. He was like, absolutely not. He sets his stuff down, his pen. He said, you need to find a nurse to come get report. I'm giving report on these 3 patients and I am leaving. I am not the kind of nurse that sticks around for ish like this. And she was like, you can't leave. That's patient abandonment. He was like, you can call it what you want. I am not staying here. This is completely ridiculous, absolutely absurd, unsafe. And so now the patient starts to panic. And the patient's like, oh my God, please don't leave. You're literally the only person who has expressed a sense of understanding for what I'm feeling. Please don't go. He was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this. Absolutely not. I'm giving a report. And she's literally, the patient, like, do not leave me, please. You know, you share a traumatic situation together and you know, you become connected. And so he takes a minute, takes a deep breath, and he looks at Rebecca, the charge nurse, and he was like, I'm finishing this shift and I'm never coming back. Here go the secretary. That's what I thought. So he finishes the shift, takes care of his 3 patients, refuses to accept any other patients. No more strange things happened, but it was primarily because everything that he did was very in and out, precise. I'm just going to get these meds, give the meds. Get the meds, give the meds, go back to the nurse's station. This man did not pee at all for the 12 hours of the shift. He gave his report and he told his registry company, do not ever send me back to that hospital. Ever again. Y'all, some people question whether or not hospitals have weird energies and spirits and other things going on. It is not a far-fetched thing. People are actively dying in these facilities. There is such a thing as a restless spirit. And I've got more stories to share where that kind of situation is concerned. From myself, from other nurses, from other healthcare professionals. Drop your comments. Talk about it in the comment section. It's a thing. It is a ting. Oh, yeah, it's a ting. I tell her, no, yeah, it's a ting. Anyways, click the link in the comment section. Hit the subscribe. Hit the little bell so that you could be notified. Give your girl some love. Explore what else I got going on. I'm releasing a lot of cool stuff. Music, podcasts, audiobooks. I've got other things on other platforms. Check out my editor, Blake Quake Beats. Cool stuff are going on. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.